Dental program, and this is the full enchilada, if you would. This would be the whole 4-year program, and we will have to have a strong partnership with ETSU at that point. Now, we've created, we hope at this stage, a strong partnership with Ballad Health, because we will need them for our AGD residency to support us with GME funding and training at the hospital. And then we can also help Ballad by seeing the emergency patients that might come into the emergency room as well. So with the 4-year training program, it would be the entire 4 years of school. We've talked with our accrediting body, which is the Commission on Dental Accreditation, called CODA. And we asked, is this something that could be done? You know, can we work with a major institution and put together a dental school? And they said, well, they don't know why we couldn't do that. In fact, they thought it was a pretty good idea that we could have a co-sponsorship. And that would be the only model in the country. And they said other states might want to copy that because many states have the same problems that we have in Tennessee as well. So we're very excited about that. And again, that's an aspiration. And again, we think we should start slowly, build up toward that, make sure that each step is measured and that we have success along the way before we proceed to the next phase. Any questions on that?
I think we're following you.
Okay. I had the privilege of coming. We've had meetings throughout the past year and a half almost, and I had the privilege of coming last spring and looking at some sites locally. And this one was one of the last buildings that we looked at, and it really struck us as an absolutely perfect place to have our clinic. It's at 111 West Sevier Avenue. Second floor of the building, it was a former oral surgery clinic. It's already set and plumbed to be a dental clinic, so I think the cost of setup and beginning the operation would be less with that, and it's in an ideal location because it's right across the street from the hospital. So we really like that. I don't know if anyone in the audience that had anything to do with the building has any comment to make about it, but now would be a good time. This is a funding ladder. We talked about the cost of the initial investment to start up, and we can't do that alone. We do have some wonderful sources, the Healthy Smiles Initiative. We do have some funding that will cover some of the expenses. The GME funding from the government that we'd work with Ballad on that through the residency program. And then I understand that the Appalachian Regional Commission is working toward a grant. Certainly the city of Kingsport, we appreciate that so much. It can't happen without your all support. ETSU, I think this is a wonderful partnership. I think this is like none that I've ever heard, you know, in the world of dental education. And so I'm very, very excited about that. And then the private funding that was mentioned, you know, with the insurance companies, all of that will be key as we move forward. There are challenges. Again, we talked about the building, we talked about the initial investment. We have recurring expenses. I can tell you, being dean of a major dental school, we are not a for-profit business, okay? We are a losing business because the folks there are training. So it takes them all afternoon to do one filling. But we want to make sure that they do it and they do it right and that they're going to be a quality dentist. So we don't cut corners on that, and we certainly wouldn't cut any corners of any training that we would do here in Kingsport as well. We have all the costs that are associated with that, administrative costs, the AGD, we have to have GME funding to make that work, but we feel pretty certain that that would work out for us. And then the two concerns that I do have, one would be the patient volume. We have to have enough patients with all the different dental specialty issues that would train dental students and residents. We have to have the qualified faculty to make this work. But I can tell you that I've had wonderful support. I've met with the first district, Tennessee Dental Association here. I've met with them twice, and I've gotten their full support. I've gotten a letter of support from the president saying that they support this initiative and they will help as much as they can with faculty and helping us to recruit people. So I really feel comfortable that we will be able to get the faculty we need, get the specialty support we need, And with the tie-in with UT Medical Center in Knoxville, as well with our campus in Memphis, if we need any specialty care that has to come into play, we can do that. And then in this day of age, you know, with Zoom and teledentistry, we can certainly make up any shortcomings with that without any problem whatsoever. So I don't really personally see anything that we can't overcome as a team. You know, I can't do it alone. I won't attempt to do it alone. But I think as a team, we can make this work. I really do. And I think as a Tennessean, you know, it will warm my heart if we can get there and help our citizens. Are there any questions of me? Paul, I've got a little hay fever, so I'm choking a little bit. Startup, we would need at least one director for 4 residents, and then probably several part-time faculty to help. And then we need specialists to come in to you know, oral surgeons, endodontists, periodontists, on not a full-time basis at all. With our 4th-year dental students and dental hygiene students, again, it's more in the realm of general dentistry. So then we would probably have a full-time director, maybe an assistant director, and then, again, some part-time faculty. And my last visit here, when I met with the 1st District, I had a number of dentists come up and say, look, I'll come and work for a day, you know, half day, or I'm ready to retire and come and work. So, you know, I think we'll be fine with that. As you move into 3rd, 4th year, now you're going to need more specialty. You're going to need, particularly with ETSU helping us with pathology and some of those courses, pharmacology. And you go to a 4-year program, then we're going to need basic science training and anatomy training and that. And so that would be definitely a cooperation between the 2 universities.
I would think that some of your patients would be charitable type cases and others would be paying.
Yes.
Do you have kind of feel what that would
You know, I don't know what the percentages would be of that until we actually get out in the community. But the clinics that we work at now in the rural areas, most of them work on a sliding scale. Our clinic at Union City, which is our clinic, we have our director and our staff there. And every patient that comes in the door, I wouldn't say ever, but almost all of them pay $10. And for that $10, they get whatever work they need. If they need 3 teeth extracted, they do. If they get 2 teeth extracted and 4 fillings or partial, they get it for $10. And then, you know, certainly we have insurance and that sort of thing as well. And they have patients that go to that clinic that are not, you know, low income, you know, but they just like going because they like to get back to the community and they like working with the students there as well. And our students get so much out of it. I mean, to be able to give back to the community and to work, you know, on folks that have the needs. And it's just, it's hard to describe the feeling of warmth that you get when you do good like that.
Board, any more questions? Okay.
Very good. Well, at this time.
Thank you all so much for the
Thank you.
opportunity, and we'll be around to answer any questions. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Reagan. At this point, I'd like to ask Dr. Nolan to make a few comments regarding ETSU's involvement.
Well, Mayor, members of the board, good evening. On behalf of our Board of Trustees, it's my pleasure to be with you tonight. And I want to set my comments within the context of the history of this institution. More than 110 years ago, the people of this region came together to bring an institution to Northeast Tennessee to help train teachers to ultimately go into the rural regions of the state and raise the quality of life for the people of our region. 60 years ago, the people of this region came together to create a College of Nursing, which is now the largest college of nursing in the state of Tennessee. And we have a significant presence here in Kingsport, training nurses to move into the Ballard system. More than 40 years ago, this region came together to create a College of Medicine, which is the driving force for change from a healthcare perspective in our region as a whole. A College of Medicine that is now ranked in the top 25 nationally for its ability to place physicians in rural areas. And as you look across the impact of this institution on our region, I know we are East Tennessee State University, but in many respects, we are the University of East Tennessee, the university that serves this region. We educate your doctors, your nurses, your teachers, your business leaders, but there's a gap, and that gap is in dental education. More than a decade ago, I had the honor to go with a number of members of Kingsport over to Memphis to meet with leadership from the University of Tennessee Health Sciences Center to look at the opportunity for a partnership. Conversation moved a little bit, but it didn't move far. And I want to point a little bit of a frame of why we are present with you this evening, and that's because of the leadership of Chancellor Buckley. I've had the honor to serve as president of the university for 11 years. He has been here more in the past 6 months than any other chancellor of that institution in the past decade. And I cannot thank him enough for the spirit of partnership and the way in which he examines the healthcare needs of the state as a whole and the opportunity for two institutions to partner to get farther faster. To Dr. Reagan, I want to thank him for his leadership as well, and he used a critical phrase, slow and steady. I think as we approach this and we move through the phase of clinic development, clinic operation, and clinic growth, that slow and steady approach, by moving at this methodically, focusing on the needs of the region, and allowing those needs to grow is something that ultimately will serve us well, just as the examples that I gave of the history of the institution have served the region well. We are honored by the opportunity to partner. I can say in the 11 years that I've been president, I've never seen slides with UT's logo and our logo on it concurrently. And it's wonderful to see two institutions working together in the way that I think you'll see these two institutions work together. I'm not in a position to talk about football victories, even though we are the reigning Southern Conference champs. But we do commend UT for their accomplishments on and off the playing field. But most importantly, we look forward to the partnership in the clinic that we hope will open here soon. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you this evening. Be happy to address any questions.
First, Dr. Nolan, we appreciate you coming tonight. And this board received a couple of weeks ago an excellent presentation from your nursing school, and we're very interested in that project.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
But board, any questions for Dr. Nolan? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'd like to recognize Clay Reynolds. Clay is representing Ballad Health tonight, and Ballad makes up, I guess, the fourth partner in this with UT, ETSU, City of Kingsport, and Ballad. So, Clay.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. We're really excited about this as well. I'm Clay Reynolds. I'm the Chief Physician Executive for Ballad Health, and I have some brief prepared comments. As I said, we're very excited to be part of this partnership that will change so many lives in the Appalachian Highlands. The primary objective of Ballad Health is to improve the health of all the patients that live in the Appalachian Highlands region. And this investment in Kingsport, we believe, will do just that. Dental health is an important part of overall health for people and for patients. There are a number of more serious conditions that are tied to dental health that people don't always think about, such as heart health and complications with pregnancies that can be tied to poor oral hygiene and dental health. So it's something that is, right in our area of interest as we aim to improve health in the region. Dental health is one of the biggest factors that we need to consider. The problem in our region, as many of you know, is the very poor access that we have to dental care, especially in our more rural areas. And half the battle is simply having enough providers to meet the need. Over the years, Ballad Health has invested in several programs to mitigate this challenge, including opening the Appalachian Highlands Community Dental Center in Abingdon, Virginia in 2020. Investing in dental care has the potential to improve hundreds of thousands of lives across the region, and we're thrilled to be a part of this new venture. The clinic will go a long way toward ensuring that we're providing the best possible care for every patient, and this is a substantial solution to a longstanding problem in our communities. Programs like these are essential to ensure that people in this region have regular access to dental providers, and people who have regular checkups at the dentist will be more likely to resolve dental issues before they lead to a more serious condition. We're looking forward to joining the City of Kingsport, ETSU, and the UT Health Sciences Center in this endeavor. And I want to personally say that in working with this group, that I've never worked with a group that was more aligned with regard to community service. There was no, hey, what do we get out of this? What do you get out of this? It was really just single-minded toward what we can do to serve the community here in an area that's really important. And I've appreciated that. I've actually enjoyed working with this group, and I'd like to thank the groups from UT, from ETSU, and Kingsport personally for the opportunity to work with them. So thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you. You really impressed me with that description of the alignment. It's quite a partnership, and we're excited that Ballard is part of it.
Mayor, at this time, I'd like to ask the board to consider pulling from the agenda 6D9. And this is an action form and a resolution, and I'll walk through this with you. This is the consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a memorandum of understanding with the University of Tennessee College of Health Sciences, East Tennessee State University, and Ballard Health to establish a dental clinic in the city of Kingsport. As Dr. Reagan identified in his presentation, our role as a city of Kingsport in this is very similar to the role that we've had with the academic village. We provide the space, and then we leave it up to the higher ed institutions to come in and provide the programming. That's what we will be doing in this step, moving forward with our partner, the Economic Development Board, to move forward with establishing. We already have an LOI on the space that Dr. Reagan presented. Later this month, we'll be moving forward and executing that lease, and then we'll be working with a variety of folks for the build-out of that space. And so we're very pleased to be able to bring it to this point. I probably could spend the remainder of the night thanking a lot of people, and I'm sure I have missed some folks, but there are a few in the room that really need to be recognized, and I would, after the vote, also like to recognize one special individual as well. Obviously, our state representatives are here. I mentioned Senator Lundberg and Representative Hicks, but Representative Hawks is here. Representative Campbell is also here with us. Thank you all for being here. I know you guys are going to be a major player in this project as we move forward, and we thank you tremendously. Eastman, C.G. McCord's back there. She told me, I think the first day I met her, that Kingsport equals partnerships. You hear me say that a lot. Well, I stole that line from CG, but also representing Eastman is Paula Bucao. These folks have been extremely instrumental in facilitating and making things happen. Of course, I talked about Mark Cox earlier, but then in addition to that, I can't help but look in the room and see former Mayor Dennis Phillips, our former city manager Jeff Fleming. They opened some doors a long time ago and got us started thinking about this. I know both of them are pleased to see where we are at today, and I thank both of y'all for really just everything you do every single day for the city of Kingsport. In addition to that, we have many local dentists that are here that have played huge roles in this. They continue to play a huge role in what we're doing here, and that will only continue as we move forward. So really, as you heard the speakers say, this is a result of partnerships. I'm glad that the city of Kingsport is right here in the center of this partnership, and I think together we'll be able to work towards the vision that has been laid out here and be something that not only this city, but this entire region will be extremely proud of. And so, Mayor, I present this resolution to you. I ask that the board approve this, allowing us to move forward with not only signing this MOU, but also moving forward in establishing our position within this partnership.
Well, thank you, and you've appropriately recognized and thanked many folks who were involved out here in the audience. You did a lot of work on this too. The board appreciates your work. I guess I got to be nice to you, huh? But thank you very much, Chris. You have done a lot of work on this. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
Resolution approving a memorandum of understanding with the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, East Tennessee State University, and Ballard Health to establish a dental clinic, authorizing the mayor to execute the memorandum and all of the documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the memorandum of understanding.
Thank you. I'm going to deviate from our normal procedure, and because this is a momentous occasion, and I'm going to ask my colleagues on my right, led by the Vice Mayor George and then Alderman Cooper and Duncan, if they would like to put the motion forward for approval. Okay? Thank you. It's on the floor. Do I hear a second from my colleagues on the right, Alderman, Phillips, and Montgomery?
We do.
We second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Thrilled to death to be here.
Okay.
We could have a lot of discussion.
We could have a lot of discussion,
We
then
do
they'd be here all
appreciate,
night, right?
collaboration between these groups, and look forward to this for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you all out there. We appreciate it.
We do thank you. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, this time, I would like to ask Mark Cox to come up to the podium and just make some final remarks. Mark has been the leader behind this. You heard that in my opening remarks. Mark has been very instrumental in getting a lot of doors open, having a lot of conversations with folks, and really helping lead the effort for this on behalf of Kingsport. So, Mark?
Well, Mr. City Manager, thank you for the opportunity, and I echo the mayor's comments regarding your effort and involvement. I would say, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Vice Mayor, Alderman, Mr. City Manager, thank you for taking this historic action, strong action tonight regarding the Appalachian Highlands Dental Project. I would say the chief executives of 3 of the 4 entities are with us tonight. Chancellor Buckley and Dean Reagan, President Noland, City Manager McCart, Mr. Levine had a prior engagement out of town, but he was very involved, and Dr. Runnels, thank you for your involvement. I hesitate to mention names because the list is extraordinarily long of people who have come along and put a hand under this to help support this action across this state, across this region. And many of them have not even been publicly named. And some of them are in this room and haven't been publicly named. But I think when you talk about helping your neighbor, and speaking of helping your neighbor, someone pretty important once called us out to do that. And what I think this represents is the best of UT Health Sciences, ETSU, Ballard, and the City of Kingsport coming together, showing love to our neighbors in need in the now, through the clinic, but also taking a first step toward an unbounded future for this project. The vision of making the Appalachian Highlands a center, a regional center for dental care, and there's no reason that can't happen. Why is affordable, quality care so important, we would ask? It has much to do with the physical health and the mental health. We know that's true of dental care. From pronouncing words properly to chewing protein-laden foods and all the self-esteem elements that come with that. It's a critical part of giving folks a hand up, and there's only upside here. I would venture that most of us in this room have benefited, if not all, from someone's selfless act in a prior generation. I hate to call one person out. I know Randy Montgomery's here, but his father was a dentist here, and my grandmother, who raised kids in Southwest Virginia in the middle of the Great Depression, took her kids to him. He championed fluoridated water in this area, and his wife and Randy's mother was once mayor of this great city. So we have a legacy of giving to our neighbors. Sometimes, you know, it's difficult to get 4 people to agree upon where to go to breakfast. Think about this, 4 boards of major organizations came together to support this, to selflessly pursue this vision, inclusive of our neighbors in Memphis. Isn't it a fabulous thing? So I'll close by saying, is this agreement unprecedented? I don't know. I think it likely is. Is it the beginning of something extraordinary for our region? The answer to that question, I guess, lies with us. But based upon the past 14 months, I believe it is. Thank you again for your actions tonight.
Thank you, Mark. And I know that not only your energies were involved, but your heart was in this, being a native of this area and a UT grad. So thank you very much. Mr. Sandy, Mr. City Manager, you suggesting we recess now?
I suggest 2 things. One, I'd suggest a round of applause for everybody involved, and then about a 5-minute recess.
That's.
Yeah.
We are in 5-minute recess. Thank you.
I watch him, he just jumps up and runs and back. So I can just picture him as a second grader.
Ryan, I think what we're doing is we're picking up at the appointments.
Ryan's coming in off the bench.
You got it. Look, Chris might come up quick. Yeah, you're right on there.
He's been out there stretching. We need to wait
Need a car.
I watch him.
This get out?
You can't see him on the pole.
Yes.
I watch Ryan.
You mean from our projection?
He jumps up and runs, and he'll sit down, and then he jumps up and
I
runs.
see him go out.
He just-
The audience
he's like
see
a
him.
little- And I said, I can just picture him out.
So, I believe in the streaming it. I don't believe it's on that 192 or whatever, but yeah, it's being streamed.
192 is dead forever, isn't it?
It's not,
I don't believe, it's been 2
But
years.
it is, Jessica, it is streaming successfully. Okay, our attorney is here now, and I'll bring the proceedings back into session. The deputy city manager will help us out, and please proceed.
All right, first two items are appointments. One to the Board of Zoning Appeals and the other to the Demolition by Neglect Committee. If it's okay with you, we can consider them both together.
Will you present who we're
Yep.
appointing?
I will.
Yeah. Any objection to bringing them both together? Okay, proceed.
So first, we're recommending you consider reappointing Tracy Childress-Cleek and Joe White to the Board of Zoning Appeal. And second, we recommend you consider reappointment of Megan Alfin and appointment of Chip Milliken to the Demolition by Neglect Committee. We ask that you approve these appointments as presented.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the vice mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman, was it Phillips? I'm sorry, was it Paul? Thank you, Paul. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Both pass 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, next item is approval of minutes from the work session on October 3rd, 2022, and the business meeting held on October 4th, 2022. We ask that you approve the minutes as submitted.
Thank you. Moved by Alderman, is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving both sets of minutes, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes, both pass 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
We have no public hearings, so we'll go to public comment.
Yep, no public hearings, no public comment, or,
Okay, no public hearing, so this is the point in our proceedings where citizens may speak on agenda items. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address and sign the register that is provided. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and they should be limited to 5 minutes. A total of 30 minutes is allocated for public comment during this part of the agenda. Are there any citizens who wish to come forward and speak to the board? If not, I declare this part of the meeting to be concluded. Please proceed, Mr. City Manager.
all right, first item is a resolution and ordinance to approve the Tennessee Commission on Aging grant and appropriate the funds. The Kingsport Senior Center has received a total of a $16,000 grant, $8,000 for each, the main campus and the Linview campus, to be used for exercise equipment. There are no matching funds required, and we ask that you approve the resolution and ordinance as presented.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, we have to do them separately, right?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, please proceed with the resolution.
A resolution accepting grant funds from the Tennessee Commission on Aging and Disability for the Kingsport Senior Centers and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents necessary and proper to receive the grants.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution? So moved. Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. Attorney, please publish the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend the general projects special revenue fund budget for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance associated with this measure? So moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right. right, next item is a budget ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023 general purpose school fund and the general project fund budgets in the amount of $855,351, with the majority going toward the HVAC improvements of the renovations at the former North High School gym project, and the remainder being received as a donation from the John Adams PTO for playground improvements. We ask that you approve the resolution or the ordinance as presented.
Right. And first, we do appreciate the donation from the Parent Teachers Organization and John Adams. It's very thoughtful. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend general purpose school fund and general project fund budgets for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Let me pause for a second and remind our public that if we move through these, it seems like we're going kind of fast. It's because every member of the board has met individually with the city manager to go over it. Then we have a work session in which we're able to discuss these further. And so by the time we get to this, we're very familiar with the topic. And another reminder is ordinances on first reading, we can do by voice vote, but we're going to do some here in a few seconds on second reading, which requires a roll call. Mr. City Manager, please proceed.
All right. The next item is a budget ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023 school special project fund budget in the amount of $166,000. And it is funds that the Sullivan County Health Department received through a federal grant and will be used for supplies, equipment, and professional development by the Kingsport City Schools Health Services Department. We ask that you approve the ordinance as presented.
Thank you. We've had quite a few grants lately on various items.
Yes, sir.
And we really appreciate that. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023 school special projects fund budget and to fix the effective date of the ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second? Second. Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? If not, yes, ma'am.
I said, we take it for granted, we hear these grants, but it takes someone out there looking for the grants and then doing the research and the writing of the grants, and before we get to approve it. So there's, I don't know who does, I'm sure there's different people that are tasked with doing these different grants, but just researching and finding those grants is huge.
Yeah, there's folks on the school board side.
Every department.
And then on this side that you and the city manager work on, it really depends on the item and which department.
And the department, so but it takes someone looking for them, because they don't, they don't advertise some of them. You have to kind of research and see what's out there.
Right.
And keep-
And you said, it's so routine because we are receiving grants every agenda.
Yeah.
And it does take, without the staff doing the work they do, we wouldn't get all these and the paperwork to follow up. So we appreciate that.
Police
Yeah.
and fire does an
Yeah,
excellent job of that.
it's
too.
every department, yeah.
I like
seems
it
like
when
we
it
have
includes
several.
my favorite phrase, no matching funds required.
Yeah, it seems like every meeting, we have several that we approve, and we just do it, like you said, so routinely that we don't think about the all the work that went into, just that one little item. So, appreciate it.
Okay, if no further discussion, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
And if you can, I'll add to that. We had Shirley here last night on the senior center, and what I like about seeing Shirley here, she wants more.
Yep.
So she brought $8,000 to the senior center and both campuses, and she's wanting more every time, so that's great. But next item is a budget ordinance to amend various city funds for the fiscal year 2023. This is a standard action the board takes about this time of year after the books are closed from the previous year. And first, the priority is to make sure that we adequately fund the fund balance. So $500,000 is going into the fund balance, which brings the total just over $21 million. And the bulk of the remainder is used for a lot of one-time projects that were not able to be funded through the budget cycle. Just to give you all an idea, there's about $225,000 going toward fire equipment, 180 to Allendale repaving, 300,000 to facility maintenance, 850 for street repaving. We're seeing escalation in costs, so this is keeping us on track. And there's an additional list within the executive summary that just goes on and on, as well as there are projects that are being adjusted within the transit, water and sewer, and some others. This is a fairly large but routine activity we do every year.
I note that part of the funds here are to purchase the barking lot, which is a dog park downtown, one street behind Main Street. And I'm looking at Mr. Borders, our Assistant City Manager for Leisure Services. You all are going to maintain the parking lot, right?
We will maintain that as one of our park assets. It'll become a Parks and Rec asset. Currently, we don't have possession of the property. We're working through that with Downtown Kingsport Association.
Okay.
So once we get possession, we do have a plan to open that up and have it maintained, as well as kind of do a.
Will you also have
lease
some
on that.
volunteers that'll help keep it clean?
So that's something that we're working on with Peak. So that was previously a Peak project.
Yeah.
And so we are working with Vanessa at the chamber to see what opportunities there are to keep that maintained with them.
Well, I know the vice mayor's going to remember this. Don't we have like over 2,000 people live downtown now, right? Something like that. So it's really a good asset to have it downtown.
Absolutely. And I can tell you that I get routinely asked when it's going to be back open.
Yeah.
From people who do work in downtown and bring their dogs to the office
Yeah.
and things like that. So it's a great asset. I can tell you Rufus utilizes it, so very excited to get it under our ownership and back open.
Yeah. Thank
Has it
you.
been closed? How long has it been? I didn't realize it was.
So there was a property transfer from the original owner to the Downtown Kingsport Association, and my understanding is that there's some insurance issues that prevented it from being open while it was under DKA ownership. So once it's back in our possession, we work that out, so it'll be open, but it's been closed for probably about 4 weeks, probably about 4 weeks.
And you estimate it'll be open by,
So it just depends on, so our city attorney would have to talk about that. He is-
okay.
So the 1st of November is when they estimate that we'll be able to transfer that property to us, and then
Great.
we will get it open.
Again, it's a good asset to have. And now I
Absolutely.
remind our citizens, we have 2 other dog parks, so one on the east end of Stone Drive and one on the west end. Okay, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the various fund budgets for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the vice mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion?
I do want to say that I'm very pleased about having the money in here to pave Allendale. That was started last year, and the front, if you've been out to Allendale, the front circle was completely paved, and a lot of that road was just built on dirt. So how it's lasted as long as it has
Great.
we've been very grateful and lucky. And that facility, I think just in September and October, had over 67 rentals. It's one of the most popular wedding sites for our residents, and it's being used just all the time. And so to be able to use some of this end-of-the-year money to finish the paving project out there is just really wonderful for our citizens, because it is unbelievable how much that is used.
That's a great point, and we really appreciate all the contributions made by the Friends of Allendale, and you're the president this year, as I
I am a
know.
president this year, and there's membership, you could all join, and it's a great thing to be involved in.
It
Get
is.
membership applications to everybody.
Thank you for your work on it. Mr. Attorney, please publish. Or we publish. I'm ready. We got, you were second, all right. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, next item is an ordinance on second and final reading to amend zoning of 910 Wilcox Court, located along South Wilcox Drive and Wilcox Court, from M1 Light Manufacturing to B3 Highway Oriented Business District. We ask that you approve this ordinance on second and final reading as presented.
Thank you, and we have 8 of these on second reading, ordinances to pass. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to further amend the zoning code, text and map to rezone property located along Wilcox Court from the M1 district to the B3 Highway-Oriented Business District and the 13th Civil District of Sullivan County to fix a penalty for the violation of this ordinance and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper.
Aye.
Alderman Duncan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor George.
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery.
Aye.
Alderman Alterman. Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, next item is an ordinance on second and final reading to abandon a stormwater easement located at 1,117, 1,121, 1,125, and 1,129 Taste Station. We ask that you approve this ordinance on second and final reading.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
In a section of a stormwater sewer easement located off of Tay Station situated in the city of Kingsport, 12th Civil District of Sullivan County, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Alderman. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please, I'm sorry, Madam Recorder, please take the roll.
Alderman Cooper.
Abstain.
Alderman Duncan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor George.
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery.
Aye.
Alderman Alterman. Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes with 6 positive votes and 1 abstention. Mr. City Manager.
All right, your next item is an ordinance on second and final reading to enter into a contractual agreement and sign all necessary documents with the Tennessee Department of Transportation for reimbursement of annual operating expenses for fiscal year 22-23. This item is related to the transit system within Kingsport.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend Urban Mass Transit Capital Grant Fund budget for the year ending June 30, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper.
Aye.
Alderman Duncan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor George.
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery.
Aye.
Alderman Alterman.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, it passes 7-0. Next item.
Next item is an ordinance on second and final reading to appropriate $44,000 from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office's fiscal year 23 grant program. We ask that you approve this ordinance on second and final reading.
And it was just a few weeks ago, or months ago, that we had an individual police officer in our department recognized by the state for your work in the highway safety, as I recall. Keep up the good work. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
In order to amend the general project special revenue fund budget by appropriating grant funds received from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper.
Aye.
Alderman Duncan.
Aye.
Vice Mayor George.
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery.
Aye.
Alderman Alterman. Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, another similar item is an ordinance on second and final reading, budget ordinance to appropriate $20,000 from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office for the fiscal year 23 coordinator grant position. We ask that you approve this on second and final reading. This is instrumental in the training and conferences that our officers go to.
No matching funds.
And no matching
No
funds. You know, when I see these kind of things, I think about the fact that our police and fire departments have all these various certifications that not every police and fire department have in Tennessee. We appreciate y'all's work. So, thank you. And Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the general project special revenue fund budget by appropriating grant funds received from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Phillips. Is there any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
Aye.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery,
Aye.
Alderman Alterman, Alderman Phillips,
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, another ordinance on second and final reading. This one was a budget adjustment for various projects as listed. They were discussed at last board meeting and work session. We ask that you approve this ordinance on second and final reading.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend various fund budgets for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
Aye.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery,
Aye.
Alderman Alterman, Alderman Phillips,
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, next item is another ordinance on second and final reading to appropriate $7,035 from the U.S. DOJ Office of Justice Programs fiscal year 22 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Funding. We ask that you approve this on second and final reading.
Is that bulletproof vest, is that for me? Probably not, I guess. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the general project special revenue fund budget by appropriating grant funds received from the U.S. Department of Justice for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Montgomery, seconded by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
Aye.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery,
Aye.
Alderman Alterman, Alderman Phillips,
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 7-0. Next item.
All right, our final ordinance on second and final reading is to appropriate $26,137 from the Department of Justice Office of Justice Programs fiscal year 22 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program. We ask that you approve this ordinance on second and final reading.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the Justice Assistant Grant Fund budget by appropriating grant funds received from the U.S. Department of Justice for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Duncan. And as Vice Mayor pointed out a few items before, a lot of these grants are recurring, but that's okay. We appreciate getting them every year. So any further discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
Aye.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye.
Alderman Montgomery,
Aye.
Alderman Alterman, Alderman Phillips,
Aye.
Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, moving on to other business. Next item is a resolution authorizing the city manager to issue a purchase order to F.L. Smith for repair of wastewater plant centrifuge. And the reason this is coming to the board is it's in fact an emergency purchase. Typically, these would be handled administratively, but it is needed given the nature of the work and the time-sensitive importance of returning the piece of equipment back into service. And I've provided, or they have provided a picture of 3 centrifuges, and just for our own edification, what it does is thicken the solids. So you can imagine what's occurring inside those centrifuges at the wastewater plant. And one is out, which leaves us at a critical state. So that is why we're asking you all to approve this resolution as presented.
Thank you. There is no adverse effect at this time, though, on our citizens.
No, we have always a one backup, so that's why we want to get it back up and running.
I agree. This is one we want to do with some speed. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order for F.L. Smith for repair of the wastewater plant centrifuge.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second. Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. And get this thing in fast, right?
Yes, sir.
Next item.
Next item is a resolution for the purchase of one Freightliner articulating brush loader utilizing the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchase Agreement. This is an addition to the fleet and will service in the front line. This is due to past annexations. We've been using backup for frontline everyday use and had some issues with service. So the estimated delivery date is summer of 2023, and we ask that you approve the resolution as presented.
I thanked Mr. Leonard yesterday for providing the pictures all the time because the board loves seeing the pictures of the large pieces of equipment. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order to CMI Equipment utilizing Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement number 040621 for -PII for one Freightliner articulating brush loader for use by the Public Works Department.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Moved by Alderman Alderman. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next is a resolution for the purchase of one CAT 420 backhoe from the Tennessee State contract. This is a fleet replacement within water maintenance, and we anticipate delivery next summer as well. We ask that you approve this resolution as presented.
Thank you. And I do congratulate Mr. Leonard because the way we replace items is a very systematic, thoughtful, planned way of replacing equipment, and they do a great job of figuring out when the right time to do that. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
Resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order to Stowers Machinery Corporation utilizing Tennessee State Contract number 72872 for one CAT 420 backhoe for use by the Water Maintenance Department.
Thank you, and it's pictured here, and is there a motion to approve? So moved. Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any?
Had yellow,
What?
that thing had yellow marks on the tires.
Yeah,
You didn't see it, did you?
that's,
I didn't notice that particular feature.
Yeah, they did.
Maybe that says
You
it's.
gotta be observant like that.
Yeah, I know. Maybe that means that we're shipping this to Kingsport. All right. Mr. City Manager.
all right, the next one is the purchase of one Pierce mid-mount 100-foot ladder truck utilizing the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchase Agreement. In a second, I'll get to the picture, but I did want to highlight, and I think Chief Boyd highlighted last night, some of the escalation in cost we have seen from 2015 on from about, what was it, about 1 point? Sorry, I should have prepped him.
Yeah, well, he did a great job pointing out what inflation does to you.
This one being 1.8, so definitely some inflation there.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for making us aware of that. Let's see, did we put it on the floor yet? Please publish.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order to emergency vehicle specialists utilizing Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement number 113021 for one Pierce mid-mount 100-foot ladder truck for the Kingsport Fire Department.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor and third by Tommy. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
It passes 7-0. Welcome back, Mr. McCart. Your deputy got to do all the great pictures that we really enjoy seeing. And we're on this item right now, D5.
Very good. Do we need to redo any of those that he did?
No, he did fine. He's a capable backup.
That's
In
good.
fact, you don't want to be gone too much.
Hey, move him on in. All right, the next item is to utilize American Rescue Plan Act funds to enter into an agreement with Kane Rash West for construction documents for the Kingsport Public Library. We've had a couple of presentations regarding this subject, and most recently, we had some conversation at a work session about moving this project forward, which would allow for the complete remodeling and modernization of the library. We recommended to you all that we move forward with utilizing the second tranche of the American Rescue Plan Act funding, and that would be the primary source of funding for the project. Now, the next step is to take where we are now, which is in a design development phase of the drawings, and move those forward to construction drawings. This action amends our contract with Kane Rash West, allows for that to occur. Obviously, we'll have some follow-ups as we move along in the project. And then, if all goes well, hopefully sometime this coming spring, we'll be able to put that project out to bid. So with that, I'd ask that you approve the resolution authorizing use of these funds.
And I note that our head librarian is watching very closely.
That's right, she is.
Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving an agreement with Kane Rash West for construction documents for the Kingsport Public Library renovation project and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement with Kane Rash West and all other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Cooper, who's on the library board. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the vice mayor. Any discussion?
I'm very excited about this. I can't wait for some of the renderings and some of the things, and some of the ideas that have been discussed or presented to be put in place at the library. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
Not only are we excited, but there's been an outpour from the citizens on really happy that we're moving this project forward. I've gotten several emails and talked to a lot of people just out in the public that, have heard about this, have been involved with this, and just the articles they've read, and really are excited that this is being done and feel this is something that's really needed in our community.
Yes, ma'am. Well stated.
And I think the strategic planning, which has been several years ago, when they presented, the things that could happen at the library, I mean, it's really outside our box of thinking. We think of the library as, the library of our day, but I said the things that are going to be happening there and what you're going to witness is modernization and just an exciting place for the citizens of Kingsport and the children to visit.
Feedback's been very positive.
Oh, yes.
about that, too, so I agree, Vice.
Yes, and I am very fortunate that where I sit and look out the window when I look up, I see the activity around the library, and there has been so many children groups out there lately, and even a lot of adult groups from a lot of different areas have been coming in, and it's, there in the summer when we had, back when we had, like warmth outside, which we don't have now, the amount of activity in Bruce Park that was drawn because of the library and a lot of things they were doing has just really increased in the time that I've had our location over here. So I said, I agree with Betsy. I thought libraries just were about books. And, this next generation is so different, and what all is there is just a whole different level.
We got a board here where a bunch of us have childhood memories of the library, and we've always thought of it.
Changed since we were children.
Yes, but it is a warm, inviting place.
The programming has changed dramatically, but the building structure looks exactly like it did when I went in there as a 5-year-old to get my library card.
We're counting on the renovation to be an improvement, but still maintain the ambiance.
Exactly. It's a beautiful building.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is Amendment 2 to the Riverbend Park redevelopment agreement with KHRA for development of Riverbend Park. As we discussed last night, we're under construction on this project right now. We anticipate being complete probably in early January of 2023. We need to do an extension on the existing agreement just to stay in compliance with the redevelopment funding through the TIF funding with the Kingsport Housing and Redevelopment Authority. We'll have that extended out till the end of February, at which time we should be complete with the park, or at least the first phase of the park, and all the punch list items associated with it. So we'd ask that you approve the resolution allowing for this extension.
You know, when you consider Bays Mountain Park and the Greenbelt and all our other parks, we already rank pretty high in the nation for that parkland.
We do.
And this just adds more, and it's a great addition. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving Amendment 2 to the redevelopment agreement with the Kingsport Housing and Redevelopment Authority to extend the date of completion of the Riverbend Redevelopment District Park, authorizing the mayor to execute the amendment and all of the documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the amendment.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Alderman. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is approving an amendment to the redevelopment plan for Kingsport by amending the downtown redevelopment district boundary. Stephen Bauer, Economic Development Specialist for the City of Kingsport, did a good job walking you all through this presentation last night, giving you an update on the existing redevelopment districts. This development district will extend from Sullivan Street down Center Street, terminating at Wilcox Drive. Really where this came out of was going back several months ago to a transportation study that we did through the Metropolitan Planning Organization. Within that study, we looked at not only the road, but we also looked at the private developments that front that road, and we began to look at what opportunities might exist for redevelopment. Really, at the end of the day, what this does for us is it provides yet another tool in the economic development toolbox. And as we see the possibilities for development occur, often these TIF dollars are those last dollars that help put a project over the top and allow it to be successful. We have, as we discussed last night, a long history of being very successful with redevelopment districts. Many of the TIFs pay off early, and that's a result of really just a lot of good work on the front end by a whole host of people that work on this. So we'd ask that you approve this resolution establishing this amendment to the downtown redevelopment district.
Thank you. Good presentation, good discussion last night, and we appreciate the Times News coverage, right, Tom? Please publish, Mr. Attorney.
A resolution approving an amendment to the downtown redevelopment district boundary.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution approving a lease agreement with the Tennessee Board of Regents on behalf of the Tennessee College of Applied Technology at Elizabethton. As you all know, and this has been an effort, and really have to recognize Alderman Phillips for the work that he's done on this to bring TCAT to Kingsport to help with the needs that we have within the building community. Several months ago, we were able to kind of cut the ribbon. Governor Lee was there to open up the TCAT space in the former Sullivan North. This amendment to their lease, or just this new lease basically that we have, is for the same amount of square footage, but it also gives them the authority to make improvements to that space. They recently received a $450,000 grant that they intend to put into this facility. We're very thankful for that. As you know, in this year's state budget, a lot of money was allocated for TCATs across the state. Glad to see some of that landing here in Kingsport. So this is coming to us from the Board of Education. We are simply passing this on through. At some point in the future, as we get the facility study back and the Kingsport City School and the Board of Mayor and Alderman and the BOE have an opportunity to look at this, it's a possibility to come back and look at additional space at this facility for TCAT, which I know is something that they are very much interested in.
Well, I guess the bottom line here is this enables TCAT to serve more students with more offerings.
Correct.
Right here in Kingsport. And I do agree with you, Alderman Phillips has done a lot of work in this area, and I appreciate that. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving a lease agreement with the Tennessee Board of Regents on behalf of its Tennessee College of Applied Technology at Elizabethton and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement and all of the documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. I thought you would. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor. Any further discussion?
I'll just say, I had lunch with the, Jamil, the guy that runs the construction program, a couple of weeks ago, and they have, first semester was real learning. They had good attendance. Second semester, it built up even more, and they have more enrolled for the next semester. So positives that the enrollment is growing. So I'm glad to see that they're investing in it, and I'm glad to see that we're continuing to invest in it. I think it's a great opportunity still.
I agree, and I think I transmitted y'all that when I went to First Tennessee Development District annual conference across the 8-county region, all the mayors of either counties or municipalities were interested in this TCAT based out of Elizabeth and expand and get that 3,500 waiting list of students wanting to enter a program, whittle that thing down. And so a lot of interest in this area of need to get a trained and ready workforce in a lot of different skill areas. Did I publish this? Did you publish this, Mr. Attorney? Okay, thank you. Is there a motion or any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, it passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, now move into the consent agenda. We have 5 items on the agenda. I will read through those. If you'd like any one of those pulled off for additional discussion or clarification, please let me know. First is reject the bid for the Bays Mountain Fox Habitat Project. Second is to enter into a statewide contract with School Kit LLC for the purchase of math implementation support for Kingsport City Schools. The third is approve issuance of certificates of compliance for retail food stores to sell wine. Fourth is execute an agreement between Sullivan County Emergency Medical Services and the City of Kingsport. And the fifth is to transfer the improvement building to the Industrial Development Board of the City of Kingsport. There's no questions. I would ask that the board approve the 5 items as submitted.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented by the city manager?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman moved by the Vice Mayor. I should have asked, did anybody want to pull one of the items? I guess not. Madam, any further discussion? Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper,
Aye to all.
Alderman Duncan,
Aye to all.
Vice Mayor George,
Aye to all.
Alderman Montgomery,
Aye to all.
Alderman Alterman,
Aye to
Alderman
all.
Phillips,
Aye to all.
Mayor Schul.
Aye to all 5, which means that all 5 passed unanimously. Mr. City Manager.
All right, we now move into the communications portion of the agenda. I will be brief. Just want to thank Ryan for sitting in while I could go downstairs for the press conference. And appreciate Ryan, appreciate the whole staff. The outstanding work they do allows me to work on projects such as the dental clinic, the dental school, and that vision that we have for that. So I appreciate everything that they do that allows us to work on some unique things here for the city of Kingsport. So with that, I'll again just thank you all for the support that you have given to the project, to this project, and what I think it means for this city. This is the first step. We got a long ways to go, but this is the first step. And we've got some great partners, as you saw in the room tonight. And I'm excited about it, and I think everybody in the city of Kingsport should be excited about it.
How'd the press conference go?
Went really well, really well.
They take your picture?
They kept pushing me over to the side.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why.
They didn't know which was
yeah.
your best side, right?
They didn't. They didn't. I know we had good turnout by the media, which we appreciate. Some great questions, and you know, one of the questions that was asked of me is talk about the benefits.
And when you talk about the benefits of this project, you begin with what it can do for the citizens of not only Kingsport, but for greater Kingsport. And we know that that is, from a health standpoint, a major benefit that's getting ready to be made available to those folks. You then move from there and you look at the work that the city of Kingsport's been doing for over a decade to position itself from a higher ed standpoint. We've been nationally known in K-12, and we've here recently become nationally known for the works that we've done in higher ed and the investments that we've made. But when you think long-term and you look at the 3 phases and you watch each of those unfold, this project has the potential to be yet another window into the world for the city of Kingsport, and that's a major step for us.
Chris, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. I'm absolutely convinced this is a wonderful project, but it will entail that the city the government has to provide the space. And that will cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million?
Correct.
Okay. But I'm giving my personal view. I think the return on this investment is going to be tremendous. And I think our speakers who came up front, they made it absolutely clear that there was a need for dental services to improve the health of our region. And it's just a great thing to have in Kingsport. And I think we'll see a return in terms of the finances involved and so forth.
You talk about the funding that the city is committing. We're also, hopefully, as we work through this, and it's relatively new legislation, but the Healthy Smiles Initiative, you heard us talk a little bit about that tonight. That's making this clinic happen. And there's hope that there's going to be also dollars within that to be able to provide reimbursement back to the city for some of those expenses that we're putting out.
That's great.
But when you look at Academic Village and the investment we've made
Well, I was going to
there,
bring that up, yeah.
we're probably somewhere now in the neighborhood of $25 million that we've invested into the
Academic
Village. And so this is not uncharted territory. This is something that we're familiar with, and we've seen the results.
And with the Academic Village, we actually saw the average education level of Kingsport citizens rise over the years. So that was a positive payoff, and this is just a great thing. But let me go ahead and, you through?
I'm through.
Okay, good job. Let me start with Alderman Montgomery.
Let me congratulate Chris on the work that he's done. I know he's put a lot of hard work and tenacity. Doing a project like this is tremendous because it takes putting a lot of people together and a lot of frustrations, a lot of hard work. So thank you for, Chris, what you've done and what you're doing for Kingsport. This is a momentous occasion, a historical time for our city. It's a time that it not only will it impact the greater Kingsport area, but I believe it will impact the whole Northeast and Southwest Virginia area. So I think that we be able to stand proud. I know in 1994, before some of you were born, President Reagan mentioned his campaign slogan, I think was time. It was morning in America. It's morning in Kingsport now. And I think that the things that we're going to announce forthcoming, that's coming down the pike, we'll be smiling a lot. So you guys have a lot of good things to say next week. I'm finished.
That's a great point. It'll affect Southwest Virginia too, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Paul. James?
Just a couple things. I'll echo what Paul said. I know Chris has worked his tail off on this and with a lot of other people. So it's just, it's a big night for Kingsport. I think this is a major announcement. When I started working with the TCAT construction program, what you heard was the education partners don't play well together. And I think that this region should be very proud because for the TCAT, we were able to pull off TCAT, Northeast State, ETSU all working together in a partnership to pull that off. And then here tonight with University of Tennessee, ETSU, Ballard, and City pulling this partnership off is pretty amazing. So, and if that news wasn't big enough, there was also an announcement today that a new Mexican restaurant's coming downtown. So it'll be interesting to see which one gets more traction tomorrow in the paper.
Right across from you, right?
But, yeah, it's always interesting how much restaurants or businesses get so much coverage. But, and then one last thing is, unfortunately, it's never a good weekend when you have to go to 2 funerals over one weekend. So just a month ago, almost right to the day, a month ago, we got to honor Ralph and Pat Gillum from PALS here, who had worked at PALS for 33 years. And unfortunately, last week, Ralph passed away very unexpectedly, right after working at PALS that morning, actually. So hated to see that. And then, of course, I guess everybody knows that Mike McIntyre, former vice mayor, passed away, and it was very sad. And Mike was so good to me when I was running for alderman, and also just, I know he was a great board member, and when my dad was on the board, you could always count on Mike to dig through the numbers and everything. So they will both be greatly missed, and other than that, I'm done.
Mike truly had a servant's heart, and in regards to Ralph, when people who grew up in Kingsport return, they always remark one of the first things they want to do is go back to PALS. And a big part of the reason are people like Ralph that worked there, and so he was a good guy. Thank you, James. Tommy?
Well, I've got to get my athletic shoes back on. I'd like to congratulate Dobbins Bennett on a good victory. The team wasn't very tough, that's for sure.
William Blunt?
Yeah, we had them about 50-0 at half.
Well, they were trying.
Yeah, they were trying. But this week, you can bet on it that the Wildcats coming to town.
You know, the series is almost dead even. They've got one win over us. It's 22-21.
I remember my senior year, we beat them down there.
Yeah.
They had this Han boy, he was tough.
It's always a good game.
He ended up going to Vanderbilt, I think. Okay, we got that to look forward to. So everybody get your maroon and gray on.
Home game, yeah.
That's right.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you, Tommy. Daryl?
Well, just to kind of comment on what Paul and James already said, Mike served our community well. So he done a lot of different things to our community, that was said the other day. And so just our thoughts and prayers to Vivian and his family. Also, almost everything's been said, too, about the potential for the dental school. I think tonight with the people that was here and the number of players that was here just really kind of shows the importance and the impact that this dental school and dental clinic, or potential dental school, and how it can impact our region. And like you said, Mayor, it's not just here, but through Southwest Virginia as well. So, and then finally, the farmers market, the fall festival, and so this weekend, and between 9 and 11, and there'll be pumpkin carving and painting and pumpkin decorating and live music and a lot of things going on at the farmers market. So I hope everybody can kind of get out and enjoy that some too. So
Rotary's making apple butter.
Is it apple butter? Your annual.
Well, did you go say? DB Band also won the Bands of America competition at ETSU, so that'll send them on to Indianapolis, and they've got a couple more competitions that they're going to go to. I think this weekend might be Westridge, I think, where they're not competing, but just
I ended up sitting at the football game next to Leif Cook's father.
Yeah.
He was as astounded as I was by that halftime show.
Yeah,
That was
he's
something
living here
else.
now.
I think they swept all categories.
Yeah.
They really, that show performed extremely well.
He did.
Tell me, they're good. What can you say?
Yeah.
Is that
Today's
it, Daryl?
Leif's birthday too, so happy birthday to Leif.
Yeah, happy birthday, man. Thank you, Daryl. Bessie?
Yes, piggybacking on everything everyone else said, the halftime show was unbelievable. I thought Ignite, the one they did earlier in the season, was good. It was with the lights and the fire. But the one Friday night was it was so over my head. I had to have someone explain what was going on, but it was really interesting. In fact, I did research afterwards about the.
That's what Mary, on the
I
way
did.
home, she read me the Candide
Yes,
Opera
exactly.
discussion
It was
of it.
amazing. There was so much going on, and that's what I talked to Heather after, and she said that's what you're looking for. There's too much going on that you can't see it all. So that's what the judges are looking for. As we get into the holiday season, starting off with Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, this weekend, the 22nd, is is it this weekend or the next? Yes. Wine and Whiskey. It's the DKA's biggest fundraiser. So if you don't have tickets, you can get those on the DKA website or go to the chamber. Also, the 29th is Halloween on the trick or treat on the streets of downtown from noon to 3. Last year was the first year they did that, and it was I think everybody sold out of candy or gave out the candy. So they expect a lot more this year. So if you have any little ones, you want to, or just to go, I know that a lot of the organizations, a lot of the businesses downtown are just asking for donations of candy so they can give out. So if you don't have many trick-or-treaters at your house, you can donate to businesses downtown. I'm sure Colette would love to have some candy donated. Wing Fling is November the 3rd, and it's also a Visit Kingsport event. I think they didn't have it for the last 2 years, and they've switched it to the fall of the year this year, so it's going to be the 3rd. And so there's a lot of things going on. Also, when I think of, we talked about Mike McIntyre, when I think of him, two of the greatest blessings in my life are because of him. He hired me when as director of First Broad Street Child Care Center several years ago, and then he directed me toward Isaiah 117 House. So I texted him about 6 or 8 months ago that said, Mike, I don't think that the impact you had and just those two things that you did in my life. So sometimes people don't realize that just a small suggestion or a small thing really impacts someone's life. So he will be greatly missed.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you, Betsy. Vice?
Yeah, Halloween, I think they're doing 12 to 2 on Saturday, the 29th downtown. And
Well, I had noon to 3, so.
I think it's 12 to 2 because,
Okay.
I said, we have already gotten our first tranche of candy because last year, even though it was terrible weather, there were thousands of kids, and we have also gone out because there were so many pets that came down last year that we have dog treats. So we will be giving away dog treats, and depending on if the kids are good, who gets what. I think we're going to do photo ops at our office, and I'm sure it'll be a great time downtown for all the kids. The dental school is huge. People throw the word around game changer a lot, and it really, this is a huge deal. But if you looked at our agenda tonight,
A lot of good things.
this was, if we did this every week, what's wrong with you, city manager? This, you look, TCAPS, the library, the dental school, downtown redevelopment. You look through what we just did in one agenda, and this is one of the probably most important meetings that we've had since I've been on the BMA in terms of what will come forward from what we did tonight in a lot of categories for the citizens of Kingsport. And it was, it is amazing when you have the audience that we had tonight come and believe so strongly in a project that is going to happen in Kingsport that benefits this entire region. And this is something that there have been so many people that have been instrumental in carrying the torch for a long time and believing in this project to make it happen. And I do appreciate all you've done on this to keep this going and to get all the partners involved. And like James mentioned, people here come together well. We talk about people not. There's always talk about we don't do regionalism well. But when it really comes down to it, the players in this area play very well together. And it was just, as I said, I just think I feel honored that we got to vote on this, that we're where we're at, and I just look forward to the future. But I said, the whole agenda, there's just so much packed into this that any one of these things that we did is a big deal. And you kind of hate to do them all in one night, because, the paper doesn't have enough paper. I mean, there's not enough space for all these great articles when you look at what all is happening on each of these items.
We'll probably spread it out.
Yeah, that's fine, we should. I mean, there's so much good going on in Kingsport, and, when you look at, what Daryl and Betsy said too, I mean, if you start naming the different events, I mean, you're having the State of the City, which nobody mentioned, which is Thursday morning.
I was gonna mention
Okay,
it.
good, I'll let you mention it, good. So you'll mention that one. The Chamber's having a Fourth Friday breakfast the following Friday. The events between DKA, the Visit Kingsport, Lamplight, I mean, there's all these things constantly going on in our area. And it's just, it's just a great place to live, and it's a good thing to do, and that's all I got.
Thank you. Well, the Vice Mayor did mention that we're going to do, we, meaning City Manager Chris McCart and I, are going to do our annual State of the City address presentation at Meadowview. If you'd like to attend, it's just call the Chamber of Commerce. They're the sponsor of the event, and they'll reserve you a seat. There's no charge. They just want to, make sure they can fit as many people in there as possible, but not overcrowd. I guess if I had to summarize, I'd say the State of the City is pretty good. What are your questions? But there's more to it than that. And this will be the fourth time we've done this in a little over 3 years. And Chris became city manager 5 days before I became mayor. And we do have good news story. There's nothing perfect in life, but we're moving ahead in a lot of ways, and we'll try and illustrate that. And remember, we had a 2-year pandemic. Now we're in inflation. We've got recession staring us in the face. So it's not, it's been a hard slog in some ways, but the idea is we're continually moving forward, and we appreciate the support of the citizens. And Chris, we appreciate your representing the city so well during this negotiation and coordination on the dental clinic and someday to be a dental school. Chris has kept us all informed, the board, and he knew that he was headed on the right path in our, it's the way we looked at it, and so we appreciate what all you've done, Chris, on this. Is super important project. Okay, we've reached that part in the proceedings where citizens may come forward and speak on issue-oriented items. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address and sign the register that is provided. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and they should be limited to 5 minutes. And this is to speak about civic type items of civic interest. I'm almost tempted to let anybody talk about the UT game, but I guess we'll forego that for now. Are there any citizens that'd like to come forward? If not, we're adjourned.
Well,
Thank you for joining us tonight for the Kingsport BMA meeting. This program has been a production of the City of Kingsport in cooperation with Milligan Productions, Milligan University, and Charter Communications. For more information, visit